Okay, good morning. Today we have, I think, page 85, paragraph 4, moving around on ice. Would like to read this paragraph? Salsabil.
Polar bears are also well adapted to move around on ice. A polar bear spends the winter living on the sea ice. Ice formed when the ocean freezes, but the bear has no trouble keeping its footing on slippery ground. Its paws are perfect for getting around on a silk cold surface. They have rough pads to keep them from slipping on the ice. The thick fur between the pads keeps the bear's feet warm. It uses the sharp, curved claws on its front paws like hooks to climb into the ice from the water. Polar bears' claws also help them dig in the ice when they hunt for seals to eat.
Thank you. Then هنا, this paragraph will talk about how the bears or polar bears move on ice. And what help them to move on ice. Polar bears are also well adapted to move around on ice. They can move easily on ice. A polar bear spends the winter living on sea ice. You know that polar bears living in this what we call sea ice. Yani sea of ice. طبعا ice formed when the ocean freezes. When does this happen? When the ocean freezes. So when the ocean freezes, شو بصير عندنا؟ يصير ice on the ground. But the bear has no trouble keeping its footing on slippery ground. You know that the ice بيكون slippery. So these bears have no problem keeping their footing on this slippery ground. Now, how does this happen? What helps them, for example, to move on ice without slippering? Its paws are perfect. What do you mean by paws هنا? Paws. Its paws are perfect for getting around on a slick, cold surface. And you know the bear legs. Well, legs, they have paws in the legs. Yani in the legs or in the foot, in the foot of the bear, there are paws. Paws, it's like, for example, what we call like hooks. And these paws help polar bears to move easily on a cold, icy area. They have rough pads to keep them from slipping in the ice. Also, they have rough pads. Between these claws, they have rough pads. These rough pads help them not to slipping on the ice. برضو في عندنا the thick fur between the pads. Then في عندنا thick fur between the pads keep the bear's feet warm. Then what keeps the polar bear's feet warm? له thick fur between the pads. This kind of fur helps bears to keep warm. طبعا their feet warm. Also, it uses a sharp geared claws on its front paws, like hooks to climb into the ice from the water. برضو, these polar bears have sharp, curved claws on its front paws, like hooks, زي ما قلنا. And these sharp claws help polar bears to climb into the ice from the water. And when they are in the water, they want to climb to the ice. So they use these sharp claws, which help them to climb into the ice. Polar bears' claws also help them dig in the ice. Bardo, these claws help those polar bears to dig in the ice. Why? Looking for food. So they dig in the ice when they hunt for seal, seals to eat, or when they dig for food to find. Okay. Next paragraph. Celine.
Finally, some polar bears, pregnant females, have adapted to the cold by hibernating, sleeping in the winter. They dig a den in the fall, give birth inside in early winter, and stay there until spring. With a big warm polar bear inside it, the den's temperature can be 40 degrees higher than the outside. Although male polar bears don't hibernate, there are stormy sometimes when wind and blowing snow make travel and hunting too difficult. So they just curl up and let the snow cover them. It's warmer under the snow than it is being exposed to the air.
Thank you. Then finally, how do polar bears get out of the cold? طبعا في عندنا some polar bears اللي هم الفيميلز بيكونوا pregnant females. How do they adapt to the cold? By hibernating. شو يعني hibernating؟ يعني sleeping in the winter. Hibernating, sleeping in the winter. They dig a den in the fall, give birth inside in early winter, and stay there until spring. Then those pregnant, how does the pregnancy happen? First, the females dig a den يعني like a hole in the fall, يعني in semester, in the fall season. And they give birth inside in early winter. In early winter, they give birth to what? To babies. And they stay in this hole until spring. With a big warm polar bear inside it, لما يكون عندنا big polar bear inside this hole, the dense temperature can be 40 degrees higher than the outside. The temperature inside these dens بتكون 40 degrees higher than that when outside. Although male polar bears don't hibernate, طبعا which polar bears hibernate? هم females, okay, not the males. Although male polar bears don't hibernate, there are stormy times when wind and blowing snow make travel and hunting too difficult. Then, male cannot hibernate, so there are times when wind and blowing snow make moving from place and hunting is difficult. So what do? The male? So they curl up يعني putting their legs and hands together and let the snow cover them. Then they curl up and the snow cover them. Now says me طبعا, this is واحد scientist. It is warmer under the snow than it is being exposed to the air. Then being under the snow is warmer than being exposed to the air or to the very cold air. Okay. Next, Saif.
People tend to view the Arctic as a harsh environment, says Measure. But if you have a species with the correct adaptation, then it's not necessarily a harsh environment for them. So bring on the snow, wind, and icy water, because when it comes to keeping warm, a polar bears got it covered.
Got it covered, yes. And here, conclusion, the last paragraph. People tend to view the Arctic as a harsh environment. We know that the Arctic, the North Pole, is very harsh environment or very difficult environment. But if you have a species with the correct adaptation, then if we have the kind of animal that has correct adaptation or the good adaptation, then it is not necessary it's not necessarily a harsh environment for them. Then if these animals have what we call correct adaptation, then they have no problem with this environment. And the problem is not, the environment is not hard for them. So bring on the snow, wind, and ice water. Because when it comes to keeping warm, polar bear got it covered. إذا when we are talking about something which is keeping warm, a polar bears got it covered. Got it covered يعني control the situation. Control the situation. Any question about the passage so far? Any question? Okay. وهنا في عندنا diagram at the bottom of the page. في عندنا المين idea اللي هي البولار بير adaptation to Arctic. طبعا نمبر 1 اذا بتشوفوا هنا adaptation for keeping warm. طبعا هنا how do polar bears adapt for what keeping warm. طبعا هنا في عندنا نمبر 1 fur coat with 2 layers. What else help polar bears keep warm? Yes. طبعا من الباسج. سلسبيل.
Their best protection from the cold is their thick,
Thick what?
white fur coat that keeps them warm.
إذا thick white fur. Okay.
And
شو كمان؟
me,
another thing كمان. في عندنا another thing that
the
keeps-
lurid hairs are hollow tides like drinking stairs that direct the sun rays on the bear's skin.
إذا في عندنا هون إيش؟ اللي هو الهير اللي بيسموه guard hairs. الجارد hairs that help also what هي عبارة عن thick soft underlayer of hair next to the skin.
Another way,
thinner hairs. Yes, another way.
a polar bear copes with the cold is with built-in insulation.
Insulation, yes.
Polar bear have a layer of pepper or fat under their skin.
مظبوط.
Can
إذا
be more than
برضو
4
bears have a layer of fat under their skin that can be more than 4 inches thick. Okay. طيب. خلينا نشوف number 2. Yes, number 2. قلنا هنا adaptation for keeping warm. What is the second title here or subtitle? بالنسبة ل pregnant female hibernate. What can we write here? Yes, look at the title, subtitles here in the passage. Yes. سلسبيل.
getting out of the cold.
إذا عندنا getting out of the cold. Yes. طبعا في عندنا pregnant females hibernate. What else here? Yes, سلسبيل.
Have adapted to the cold by hibernating, sleeping in the winter.
Yes.
Dug a den in the fall, give breath inside in early winter, and stay there until spring.
Yes. But what happens? What happens to the male polar bears? The male. Although بالنسبة للفيميلز, males, how do they get out of the cold?
Also, male polar bears don't hibernate. There are stormy times when wind and blowing snow make travel and hunting too difficult.
But how do they adapt to the cold here? How do they adapt? الميلز احنا على الميلز. They what? What do they do? They curl up.
And let the snow cover them.
Cover them, yes. This is what طبعا for males. So now let's move to the second or to the next subtitle. Low lie flat on snow. Now what's the heading of this section? Yes, Sabine?
I think cooling off.
Yes. Then adaptation for cooling off. Yani how do polar bears adapt for cooling off? How? What are the ways? How do they adapt to cool off? They move what? Slowly on ice, and they don't run. Then they move slowly and don't run often. Another way. سلسبيل.
By moving too fast, but polar bear know how to avoid overthink. A polar bear usually moves slowly and doesn't run very often.
قلنا move slowly and don't run often.
May
Another
lie,
thing.
may lie flat with its legs extended to expose its stomach directly to the snow.
مظبوط. هنا it lies flat with its legs extended to expose its stomach direct to the snow. Another way. شو كمان?
Since belly 4 isn't as stiff.
No, this is not the point here. نقدر نقول هنا كمان they what? Grab a mouthful of snow to cool off. لأن هنا في عندنا 3 ways. أول شيء lie flat on snow. Lie flat on snow. Grabbing what? A mouthful of snow. Number 3, moving slowly and what? Not running often. The last thing here in the diagram, we have paws have rough pads. So what is the title or what's the idea of this paragraph here? محمد.
Doctor, moving around on ice.
مظبوط. إذن moving around on ice. So how do polar bears move around on ice?
Doctor, they have a rough pad to keep
مظبوط.
them from slipping on the ice.
Yes. شو كمان؟
في كمان شغلة ثانية اللي هي فوق. ثانية بس. Its toes are perfect for getting around on a slick, cold surface. Surface.
Yeah. إذا قلنا number 1, paws have rough pads. Paws have rough pads. طبعا rough pads here prevent them from slipping. في عندنا برضه a thick fur between the pads.
Yes.
A thick fur between the pads keep the polar bears warm. عندنا برضه another way. في عندنا sharp curved claws help to climb into the ice from the water. إذن في عندنا 3 ways that help bears to move around on ice. Okay. Next paragraph, page 86. Now, true or false? Write true or false next to each of the following statements. If a statement is false, correct it to make it true. Number 1. Muhammad?
Yes, doctor. Number 1, a polar bear's coat is made up of 2 layers. Doctor, height 2.
True, yes. Next. Shahid?
A polar bear's skin is white. False.
Polar bear skin is white. False or true?
Doctor, height true, صح?
What do you think? Polar bear skin is white.
دكتور لانه هو هون قصد هناك لما كانوا يحكوا انه دارك كانوا يحكوا عن الجلد البيض تحت.
صح مزبوط. احنا عندنا اذا بنقول this is false. شو true؟ انه البولار بير سكين is what؟
black.
Black, yes. Yes, black. Next. Next. Muhammad?
Yes, doctor.
Yes.
3. All polar bears hibernate in the winter. Doctor, high false.
شو true? What's true?
True. أنا بعرف وينها بالثاني. اللي هي في paragraph number 5. اللي هو pregnant females have
Females.
adapted.
إذا هنا بنقول not all polar bears hibernate.
Yes.
What hibernate only ايش هم females. الفيميلز او
Females.
pregnant females. Yes.
Yes.
Next. Next. Manar.
Number 4. Female polar bear gave birth in a den. True.
True. Yes. Next. Next. Safe.
Number 5. Polar bears have thin guard hairs. It's false. True is hollow.
والمكتوبة ايش؟
هو مكتوبة thin
Have
guard
thin
hair.
guard hairs. Are they thin؟
No, it's
شو
hollow.
مكتوب هنا بالباراجراف؟ باراجراف نمبر 2 شو بتقول؟ There is a thick, soft underlayer of fur next to the skin and an outer of long, thinner hairs.
دكتور كمان مكتوب the guard hairs are hollow.
هولو بس مش معناته يعني not thin, okay? So this is what?
True.
True, yes. Next. Muhammad?
Yes, doctor. Polar bears usually run quickly from place to place. Doctor, high false. Paragraph number 3. اللي هو
They move ايش؟
اللي هو polar bear usually moves slowly.
Slowly, good.
And doesn't run very often.
Okay, then slowly, yes. Next.
Yes.
Dana? Dana?
Yes, Doctor.
Yes.
Polar bears use their claws to hunt seals. اللي هي true.
True, yes. Polar bears use their claws to hunt seals, yes. Next. Next. Muhammad?
Yes, doctor. The fur on a polar bear's belly is thinner than the fur on its back. Doctor, high true.
True, yes, good.
موجود بباراجراف 3.
Yes, good. Exercise B. Read the following list of facts about polar bears. Decide which ones you would use as details in the article bear necessities. Then figure out where you would include each one in the text. Write the number of the sentence in the correct place in the article. Number 1. And where can we put these sentences in the article? Safe?
Number 1. Scientists estimate that there are between 22,000 and 27,000 polar bears in the Arctic. I must put it in the paragraph number 1.
Number 1. وين بأي محل؟ Number 1. Second sentence ولا third sentence ولا؟
In the third, after the third sentence.
After the third sentence. طبعا third sentence بتكون هاي اللي شو اسمه؟ اللي هي فيها المين idea. Then we don't put it in the third sentence.
دكتور هاي بتنفع الجملة الأولى في الفقرة.
لا مش تكون الأولى، ممكن second.
second sentence.
second
بعد
sentence. بالأول
background.
نحكي بالأول شو الموضوع الباراجراف. Polar bears are found all around the North Pole on sea ice islands and coasts. هنا second sentence نقول scientists estimate that there are between 22,000 and 27,000 polar bears in Arctic. تكون second sentence. Yes. The next one, number 2. دعاء.
A polar bear nose and lips as well as the skin under its fur are black. It must be in paragraph 2.
Paragraph 2, yes, good. Which sentence?
A polar bear looks white, but under its fur, the skin is black. True.
A polar bear's nose and this as well as the skin under fur are black. نقدر نحطها after. هنا في عندنا a polar bear looks white but under its fur the skin is black. After this one sentence we can use a polar bear nose and lips as well as the skin under its fur are black. لأنه في عندنا skin هنا خليها قريبة على فيها الجملة فيها skin. Okay.
Yes.
إذا بتكون yes in the middle of the paragraph. Yes. Number 3. سلسبيل.
Their hand pies are adapted to act like ruders to help them swim in the Arctic waters. Paragraph 3. I think after its pies are perfect for getting around on a silk cold surface. بعدها تكون دكتور.
Paragraph 4 مش 3 انت قلتي. Paragraph 4. Yes. بنستخدمه هنا after
Pies are perfect for getting around on a silk.
their hind paws are adapted. بعد hind يعني back paws. هنا its paws are perfect for getting around on a slick cold surface. شو أنا بعديها we use what after surface بنقول their hind paws are adapted to act like ruders to help them swim in the Arctic. Yes. Number 4. دعاء. Number 4.
Yes, doctor.
Yes. Number 4. محمد.
Yes, doctor. Number 4. Polar bears go swimming to cool down if they get overheated. دكتور ممكن تيجي هنا اللي هي paragraph number 3 cooling
Yes.
off. Or it may lie flat with its legs extended to expose its stomach directly to the snow since belly there isn't as thick.
ممكن هون نحط ايش at the end of the sentence.
Yes.
أو at the end of the paragraph نقول polar bears go swimming to cool down if they get overheated. Yes.
Maybe.
Next, number 5. Celine.
The largest polar bear ever reduced was a recorded was a male weighing 1,002 kilograms. Paragraph number 1.
1, yes. Where can we put number 1 يعني بعد تذكر قبل شوي حطينا اللي هي number 1 scientists بعد after scientists هنا نقول the largest polar bear ever recorded was male weighing 1,002 kilograms. Yes. Next. سلسبيل.
Their compact ears and small tail also prevent heat loss. Paragraph number 3, I think. After doesn't run very often.
The compact ears and small tail also prevent heat loss. لا هنا مش نمبر 3. نمبر ايش؟ لو بنحكي عن هنا keeping warm. إذا which paragraph? 2, yes, 2. In paragraph 2, yes. Then we can put this in paragraph 2.
After but under its for the skin is black.
Yes. Yes. Next. Cillian.
Yes, doctor.
Yeah.
Polar bear fur is a waterproof, making it a great
Insulator. Yes.
عيدها.
Insulator.
Insulator. Paragraph number 2.
Yes, number 2. Where can we put it in paragraph number 2?
There's a thick, soft underlayer of fur next to their skin and an outer layer.
Yes. Okay, good. Now, let's move to exercise C. Complete the following sentences with the correct word or phrase. Number 1. Yes. Hamad?
Yes, doctor. You can drink water through a straw because it is hollow.
Hollow, yes.
Hollow.
Because
yes,
it is
sorry.
hollow, yes. Next.
Yes.
Next. Cillian?
Doctor,
Yes. Hi, Cillian. سامعتني؟
number 2, would you like?
Hmm.
Would you like to live in a house?
Harsh what?
Would you like to live in a harsh,
Frigid.
climate?
Yes,
Frigid climate.
frigid climate, yes. Next. Manar?
Number 3. Be
Mhm.
careful. That knife is very sharp.
Is very sharp, yes. Next. Yaqeen?
Polar bears are well adapted to their environment.
Are well adapted to their environment. Next. Yaqeen? Yes. شهد.
دكتور وصلنا ل6 صح؟ 6. Sure, I can finish this
Number
job.
5. Number 5. 5, yes.
5. My son likes to curl up.
Yes, curl up, yes.
Curl up on the couch and watch TV.
Yes, then curl up, yes. Next. Manar?
Number 6. Sure, I can finish this job before noon and no sweat.
No sweat. Yes, next. Cillian?
Number 7. Number 7.
Mm.
How will you cope with all the
Responsibility, yes. How will you cope with? Yes. Next. Shahad.
The situation at work isn't that bad. I have got it covered.
Yes, I have got it covered. I have got it covered. Next. Hamad.
Yes, doctor. I love the beaches on the Pacific, Dr. High Coast.
Coast, yes, coast.
Coast.
Pacific coast. Next. Next. Manar.
You should bring an umbrella if you want to avoid getting wet.
Yes, avoid. Next. Shahad. Yes. Shahad.
There is a wonderful hotel on this island.
Island, yes, good. Next. Salsabil.
Dr. Daves is a biologist who studies the plants and animals of Costa Rica.
Then Dr. Davis is a biologist. Yes. Next. Hamad.
Yes, doctor. There are many usual species
Species,
of
yes.
species of animals in Australia.
Yes. Then species. Okay. Exercise D. One word in each of the following lists does not belong. Cross out the word. Okay. مثلا run, swim, dig, winter does not belong. Then we cross it out. Number 2. Celine.
Yes.
Celine.
Nap, hunt, hibernate, sleep, hunt.
Hunt, yes, good. Next. Salsabil.
September, winter, spring, summer, September.
September, yes. Next. Dua. Dua.
Pause, ears, stomach, seal.
Seal, yes, good. Next. Next. Celine. Celine.
Yes. Icy, cold, toasty, fresh, toasty.
Toast, yes. Hanin.
Hair, fur, skin, dye.
Then hair, fair skin, then, yes. Next. Salsabil.
Rains, clouds, swimming, heating, clouds.
Close, yes, close. Ali.
Toasty, jacket, warm, hot, jacket.
Jacket, yes. Next. Hamad.
Land, sea, bluebird, island. Island. Dr. Bluebird.
Clever, yes. Clever. Next.
Yes.
Ali.
Polar, cold, Arctic, common.
Common, yes. Next. Shahad.
Fair, jacket, flapper, wind.
Wind, good. Dana. Dana.
This doctor. White, black, sky, blue. This is sky.
Yes. Next. Dua. Dua.
Snow, major, rain. Major.
Measure, yes.
Measure.
Okay, good. ننتقل لبيج 88. في عندنا هون synonyms. What do by synonyms? ها؟ يعني words that have the same meaning. يعني the words that have the same meaning. Then what is a synonym? A synonym is a word that has the same meaning as another word. For example, أنا sad unhappy. يعني sad means unhappy. الأنتونيم يعني it gives the opposite meaning.
Opposite meaning.
of another word. مثلا sad الopposite أو الأنتونيم تبعها happy opposite. Okay. Now write an S if the words are synonyms. Write an A if the words are antonyms. Number one.
Anatomy.
Yes, Celine. Celine. Ali.
Contest, competition.
Synonyms, yes. Synonyms. Then contest, competition, synonyms. Next. Salsabil.
Fashionable, unpopular, antonym.
Antonyms, yes, antonyms. Next. Celine.
Ancient,
Current.
current, synonym,
No.
antonyms.
Antonyms. Yes.
Antonyms.
They are antonyms, yes. دعاء.
dozen 12 synonym.
إذا في عندنا dozen و 12 you have synonym.
12 synonym.
Next. Yes, Shahid.
Advice or guidance.
Guidance.
Synonym.
Synonyms, yes.
Guidance.
Ali.
Journalist, reporter. Synonyms.
Synonyms, yes. Muhammad.
Accident, mistake, synonym.
Event.
Synonyms. Next. Salsabil.
Invent, great, synonym.
Synonyms, yes. Next.
Foolish.
Muhammad.
Criticize.
Foolish, wise, antonym.
Okay, foolish and wise are antonyms, yes. Next. Shahid. Criticize.
Criticizes.
Criticize.
Praise. Antonym.
Antonyms, yes. Ahmed.
Criticize.
Stomach, belly, synonyms.
Synonyms, yes. Next. Dana.
Harsh, severe, synonym.
Harsh or severe are synonyms, yes. Next. Next, Ali.
Toasty, chilly. Antonyms.
Antonyms, yes. Antonyms. Ahmed.
Dense or thick, synonyms.
Synonyms, yes. Next. Salsabil.
Absorb, reflect, antonym.
Antonyms, yes. Next. Manar.
Cope with to manage, synonym.
Synonyms, yes, synonyms, good. Now open your books page 90. Page 90. Okay. Now هنا في عندنا become a better reader. Do your best to read the following text and answer the questions in 4 minutes. Okay. Now read this passage in 4 minutes and then we answer the questions after that. Okay, question number 1. Question number 1. Ali?
Construction of the Great Wall of China occurred over a period of many centuries.
Yes. Number B, occurred over a period of many centuries. Next, Dua?
The guard towers were built. See A and B.
Yes, A and B, yes. Next, Muhammad?
Number 3, Shehanti was a Chinese emperor.
Chinese emperor, yes.
Yes.
Next, Saif? Saif? سيف سامعني؟ عندك مشكلة الميكروفون.
دكتور النت عنده.
Chinese
علق.
emperor.
ما سمعناش شيء منك. سلسبيل؟ سلسبيل؟
The Great Wall. The answer is but some sections are missing.
Hello.
Yes, C. Okay, good. لأن هون بنكون خلصنا المادة، أوكي؟ طبعا الفاينل مش ب1/9 بيبدأ عندكم؟
Yes,
Yes.
طبعا المادة تكون داخل الامتحان 4 دروس بالكتاب هذا اللي أخذناهم شابتر 1 2 3 4. الكتاب الثاني في عندنا اللي هو الانترميديت بس 2 chapters. اوكي
إن شاء الله.
اوكي. Any question?
يعطيك العافية.
الله يعافيك.
الله يسعدك.
Okay, see you then in the exam.